Welcome back to the Unfiltered Sports Weekly. I'm the Beeb.
I'm Kev. No,
and St. Joe's muted.
He's muted.
St. Joe.
There it is. All right. So glad that you're back with us today, guys. I have an opening question for you, and we've probably talked about this before, so forgive me if we have.
Okay, well, wait. I got something first.
All right, fine.
No, ask your fucking question. I just promised one of our most prominent listeners I would read something, but it can wait. Ask your question.
Well, we could get into a debate, so go ahead and read what you're going to read.
Oh, boy.
Okay. I am going to read the absolute best motherfucking podcast review that I have ever seen. Okay. And this is a podcast review for a podcast named Finding Your Way. It was after he had a guest on there called Mama D. And I am reading this word for word. I'm not adding anything. I'm not taking anything away. But it is by far the best podcast review that I have ever read in my life. The title of it is Very Good Podcast. Thank you.
I've read it. I know what you're getting ready to read. This is going to be interesting.
This is word for word. Mama D, yeah, this with me, very inspiring. I am also AirPod Castro, and I look for Go to Talkcast to listen to. I also cannot with how many, a lot. I agree with you, but she has goodbyes as far as you. Thank you for this. That is word for word,
Wow.
The best podcast review. I'm not bullshitting. If you go to Apple Podcasts right now, Finding Your Way with the Beeb, and go all the way down, it's the second review, and it's right
and
there.
While
It's glorious.
That right there was a 5 Dragons review.
It is glorious.
Okay, are you ready for that? I give that a
thumbs up. Okay.
thumbs up.
Oh, how about that? Who would have thought?
Okay.
Fabulous. So,
how you're doing that.
thanks for reading my reviews for me. The one review that I have.
You have like 6.
Oh, okay. I'll have to go and look. They never sent me an email about it. Do you have to just go and look for them? I guess. All right. Well, all right. So here's the question. We probably asked, but
Let's see if it does that. No, if it doesn't do it. Okay.
rather than ask which competition you actually think is a sport, I'm going to ask you if this sport is, or this competition actually is a sport. Okay. Is bowling a sport?
Bowling is a sport.
Yeah, there's some physical activity there.
Okay. So then I have another question for you. If it's on ESPN, is it a sport?
Fuck no. And let me tell you why. Okay, so
rock skipping was on there.
Do you know what's on ESPN, which stands for the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network, right? Do you know what's been on ESPN? The fucking spelling bee. Okay, spelling bee is not a fucking sport unless Brian Urlacher comes and knocks the glasses off that Chinese bitch's face. Okay?
It is the sport of spelling.
Right. It's not a fucking sport. And neither is dominoes. I turned on Fox FS1 one night, and I got dominoes. That's not a sport. That's 5 old guys with the fucking gout, okay? It's not a fucking sport. In a close second, I know somebody's about to bring up fucking poker.
Yeah, I was getting ready to. It's on ESPN, and it is interesting to watch. It is.
Yeah, but I think we could define poker as a game.
Yeah,
because it's
part
of gaming. It's part of the mind. If you call that a sport, then you have to call sports gambling a sport.
Is chess a sport?
It's a game.
Okay.
Here's one for you because I was listening to it on a sports history podcast on Want to mute yourself first? Or...
For those of you that
Why
don't
not?
know,
No, I want to give Jay something to talk about.
St. Joe is forever fucking with this microphone, okay? And so rather than put it on fucking mute, okay, and then he just fucking clicking the fuck away.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, rather than get on like 20 minutes early, make sure like the audio's going fucking great and shit like that. Fucking St. Joe's like, fuck it, wait until we go fucking live. You know, it's not like we're not fucking live or anything.
Yeah. Wait until you take a puff of that vape and I hear it on there.
Yeah, that's true. He's got you on that one.
Go.
But
here we go.
Hey, in his defense, I sent a text. Hey, you might want to switch your. In his defense, I did send a text. Hey, you might want to switch your setting back over to this. And he went ahead and did it. So, hey, appreciate that.
You know, maybe it sounds better now. Click. Wait. Let me get Jay's little. I don't have a piece of paper around me, but I'll get the clicking back. It'll come back here soon.
All right. So,
it only took 5 minutes for this motherfucker to go off the rails.
Okay,
Beeb's been trying to ask the same motherfucking question.
This is for Beebs.
Thanks.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, it's what I'm known for.
So,
anyway, so competitive eating.
Sport.
Is it a sport?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's some physical trauma there. You know, that good shit.
Oh,
so,
God.
So here's the thing that did come up. The debate about the hot dog eating contest.
Yeah.
Should the hot dog eaters have to eat the hot dog and the bun together?
Yes.
They don't, right? Because currently, right now, they don't. They eat the hot dog, they take it out of the bun, they eat the hot dog, then they put the bun in the water, and then they eat the bun, right?
So you're saying they have to have the hot dog in the bun while they're eating it.
Right. So the argument is they should eat them together like you would normally eat them, right?
Yeah.
There's no like when I go to eat a hot dog, I'm not taking the hot dog out of the bun and then dipping it in, because that's not the natural way of eating.
Does that not gross anybody out?
Oh, it's gross. I mean, you watch it and you're like, it's gross.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys watch that every 4th of July?
Yes.
Nathan's hot dog eating contest? It's like a tradition, right?
If you check my Twitter, I was bitching at him because they had like a rain delay.
Yeah.
You know, this year, and I was like bitching at him. Like,
what did he have? He had like, what was it, 63 or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
The interesting year was when Kobayashi got he got booted out of the eating whatever it was. They wouldn't let him compete in the hot dog eating contest, so he protested at the hot dog eating contest. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
That was like a whole big thing.
I still think they don't let him in, right?
No, he's not allowed in because he's not part of the the food eating league? I don't know what it's called.
The the International Federation of World Eaters or something like that.
Well, the one that Joey Chestnut is called Major League Eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it changed names to Major League Eating a few years back, but it used to be something else. But have you ever watched their other competitions?
Yeah,
it's crazy. They
It's
eat
like
18
feet of 18 feet of sushi.
Yeah.
I like
sushi's all different flavors.
The Crystal / White Castle burger eating competitions.
Yeah.
Can you
It's impressive what they eat.
Can you imagine just pounding White Castle burgers?
I mean, I thought I could eat a lot of them until I saw them put away like 50.
Yeah.
You know,
That's gross.
Yeah.
Do they eat the buns with the burger, or do they take the burger out of the buns?
I think they eat the buns with the burger. But I mean, you know what's funny is like Joey Chestnut is like a fit guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, he's not like 700 motherfucking pounds. You know, this ain't a fucking stick your face in a fucking pie contest. You know,
some of those records though are amazing. Like they're eating, 5 pounds of pig brains, or I mean, just some ridiculous things, or I mean, it's some of those records are just ridiculous.
What I wouldn't want to be, especially like go back to the hot dogging contest there at Coney Island, I wouldn't want to be the bathroom attendant after one of those contests.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty bad.
They purge afterwards, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know what they would do, but Yeah, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good at all.
No.
They definitely wouldn't have I wouldn't want to be the that's like the bathroom attendant at Taco Bell. That's not a job you want.
That's about as gross of an analogy.
Yeah.
It's like, think of.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I've never been in the bathroom at a Taco Bell for that reason.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you just want to do a light wipe.
Yeah, a light. No, you hover, right? You hover, right?
Yeah. Real shallow.
And just so you know, like during COVID, ESPN 8, the Ocho had rock skipping contests.
Yeah.
So there's some physicality to that, and it is a competition.
Yeah.
It's a sport.
Yes.
Keb, is it a sport?
What, rock skipping? Fuck no.
Yeah.
You know, along these lines, though, we did have a listener bring this shit up, and I want to ask you this question, and to be safe, I'm bringing this up. This is my bringing it up disclosure. It's at KebLives, KEBLIVES. And I've got an opinion on this, but it's about it real quick. And I know people are out there wanting to hear our takes on the divisional games here in a second. We'll fucking get to that. We're not going to forget about the fucking NFL people, but we got some shit to go over here, you know? So do you guys know who Haley Davidson is?
Rings a bell. I'm not 100%.
No clue.
Haley Davidson is a trans golfer.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do know this.
That
Yep.
won a women's tournament, increasing their chances to LPGA qualifier. Now, here's my question, brought up by a listener. Not, you know me, I don't name names, but you guys can probably figure it the fuck out who sent it to me. It's about golf. And here's my question to you guys is, should, rather than letting biological men who can hit the ball farther than biological women, you know, shine how they identify, okay? Should they have their own tour?
Nah.
No, they should play with the men.
No. They should
No, I
play.
mean, if you're a man who's changing his gender to a woman, you should play with the men because that's your
No.
original gender.
Well,
You're identifying as a woman, so if you play that, you play on the LPGA.
okay.
No,
so-
because I mean, like, are you saying that's what you think, or are you saying that that's what's going to happen? Because that's probably what's getting ready to happen.
yeah,
Yeah,
are
well,
you,
she
are you
won,
stating your opinion as fact?
Well, she won, and depends on if that's your truth or not. Because
Yeah, right.
if you say that that's your truth, then that's going to be what you want it to be.
Are
Because
you saying that this is confirmation bias?
it could be, depending on what you want to see. Because if she played on the LPGA and she won that tournament, then
All right. We'll take it a step further. The NCAA has been on record, and in swimming, they allowed a biological man to swim with the women, and they were coincidentally ranked number one in the country.
Right.
You know, as
Won the
a-
national championship by like 7 seconds. I mean,
Right.
Right.
what
But
do you
is
want?
that fair to
No.
biological women?
No, it's not fair. But I mean, St. Joe's over there, like, oh, sure, it's fair. No, that's not fair. Like, if you transition, listen,
No.
there's some science behind this, right?
Yeah.
There's some science. I mean, like, if you transition after you've gone through the biological changes a male goes through to be a an adult man, you have a body structure that a woman can't have. And there's going to be people who hate me for that, right? But a man can hit a golf ball 350 yards right now on tour, right? And what's the average female drive? 260? I mean, that's an advantage of hitting a wedge versus a 5-iron.
Sure.
That's a huge advantage.
So, St. Joe, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Say you got arrested and you get booked and you're like, I don't want to go to the men's jail because I might get violated.
Mm-hmm.
So can you identify as a woman and go over to the female jail?
It
Because
depends
that's
on
kind
what.
of it's kind of the same thing. You know,
No.
if you think about
so,
it.
so
That's happened, right?
here's the thing.
Dude, that's going to happen to me. Sooner or later, when the cops catch up with me, I'm going to identify as a woman, and we're going to go have a grand old time.
So here's the thing. I mean, you can make all the arguments that you want to make in the world, right? But the thing is that that the schools and everybody are letting it happen. So fair or not fair or biological.
Ron's not.
Well, that's
Ron
true.
don't like it.
That's true. But
Good old Ron. Thank God for Ron.
biological science, whatever you want to say, whatever argument you want to make, it's happening because college sports or whoever or whatever are letting it happen. So if this particular person is identifying as something and playing on the LPGA tour, society or whatever is letting it happen. So until they don't let it happen, it doesn't matter if it's fair or not. It's happening.
Do you know who Kevin Durant is?
Yeah.
I so want him to identify as a female, go to the WNBA. It would sell them some fucking tickets. The people over there would shut the fuck up, and he'll score 700 fucking points a game.
People might actually start watching the WNBA then.
Yeah.
If that would happen.
Yeah, it would help them sell some fucking tickets because they can't sell them by themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
No, St. Joe probably makes the most relevant argument. I mean, as long as they're gonna let people do it, then people are gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, your argument is they're just following the rules that have been placed before them?
Sure.
Yes.
And so if rules are set there to exploit, then they should follow them?
Yes. It's kind of why Florida State got left out of the championship.
God damn it. He knew where I was going with it.
I mean, if there's rules that are made to be broken, then why not break them? So
but they're not. They're not breaking any rules. They're following.
Yeah, but is that fair to the other competitors?
So is the argument, is it fair, or is the argument is,
you could argue that life's not fair,
right.
But
sure.
but you solve it all by creating especially in golf, creating a tour for that, because it works. I mean, you only see it with male identifying as female. You don't see it as female identifying as male, and then Brittany Griner comes and goes and plays for the fucking Spurs. You're not seeing that.
Right. Well, you only see it in one aspect, and that's I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but I don't care. But you only see it in the form of when it's for equal pay, or for it's when something that would benefit, like a Megan Rapinoe or something like that, where it's like we need to have equality versus women are being less treated like a male. I don't know how to phrase it in that way.
That's a different discussion. I mean, you won't get near as much trouble as I would if we're gonna go on fucking what's equal and what's fucking not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they'll fucking let you pay for dinner all fucking day long, but they want but they want
but that's the only time that I feel, and I say that in the best possible way. But when the argument comes up of as a female using the male bias, I guess in that aspect. But you're right. You do see more, I think, of a male transitioning to a female sport than you do as a female transitioning to a male sport.
Now, what I think
actually let me level this out real quick.
Yeah, sure.
When it comes to sport, and I think this is true about anybody who's a true sports fan, right? And if you've competed in sports your whole life, it's not about, am I following the quote unquote rules? It's about whether it's sporting or not. Do you know what I mean when I say that? If it's not sporting, meaning everybody's not coming, or when I say coming from the same place, In this case, your athletes who are transitioning from male to female, they're coming from a different platform than, your basic biological female. When I say basic, there's nothing basic about females, but your regular biological female is not going to be able to compete with a male on a regular basis, right? So when they transition from being a male to a female, and now they're competing against each other, it's not the term fair was used earlier. I just say it's not sporting. It's not. It's you're not basically competing on the same level, if that makes any sense to what I'm saying. It's just not sporting. And that's why the NCAA swimming championship was won by so many, by so many lengths when the person won the women's NCAA swimming championship. She won.
I would love to see that swimmer. I forget their name.
I mean, he's only he's only 6'2" and has the broad shoulders of a brewer. I mean,
I would love to see him go up against. He won the same event that Katie Ledecky swims in the Olympics,
right.
And I would love to see him go up against her.
So what sport do you think that they are that? And I think that we've asked this before, but where do you think that men and women are the most equal in what sport?
Pickleball,
bowling,
yeah, fishing. I don't know. Is fishing a sport?
I mean, if you're going to use the term that it's not sporting, I mean, there's always going to be a division. There's always going to be men's sports and women's sports.
Right, but we're talking about people who are
taking advantage of those.
Born and trained as men, going over to women to, I use the word exploit, but I mean, it's just, like Beeb said, it's just, in my opinion, it's just not, sporting. I don't care who you identify with as, or whatever, but when you try to exploit, something like that, then there's, I mean, you could argue that the steroids in baseball in the 90s was not sporting.
Sure.
You could argue that. You could
because the guys who are playing by the rules,
right. I mean, there's a lot you could argue. This is just the advanced or the latest version of that.
So if you take physicality out of it, then you're on an equal playing field. So if you look at poker, if you look at chess,
there are women who win poker, the World Series of Poker all the time. So
you're saying that if there's, but then those aren't considered sports. Those are considered games. Where if we go back and we circle back to your original question on is this a sport or not, then those aren't sports. Where if if you're going to be on equal grounds, then the only way that you can be on an equal ground is if it's considered a game and not a sport.
I guess it really depends on the sport, doesn't it?
That's my question.
You're playing. I mean, like it really does.
Like billiards. Is billiards a sport?
That harkens back to the original question on is this a sport or is this a game?
All right. Well, I think the divide happens when you add like games or sports like basketball or football. When you add, size and physicality into the picture of the sport, the individual sport. Like I'll give you for instance, there's a transgender female playing rugby. I think it was Australia. Maybe it was or New Zealand. But you're watching them play. Dude's or lady is 6'3", weighs 260 and is built like a brick, like a brick, what? house, you know what I mean? Like she's built like a brick house. But she's obviously a male. I mean, when you watch them play, and she's hurt people, like severely hurt people. So then the question, but that gives them an unfair advantage. Their team has an unfair advantage because she just runs through people in rugby where it matters. Now, I mean, what other sports are there that you would say men have an advantage in. Well, I'll give you another, for instance, track and field. Okay.
Mhm.
Track and field is one where, do you think women could ever compete with men as far as, the 100-meter, the 200-meter dash, or the 400-meter dash, or any of them?
There's some out there that can, but
I
do
mean,
I think
the top athletes? That's what I mean.
sure? Do I think that a man is going to be faster than a woman, and the majority of them, the majority of the time, yes.
So the
Like,
times aren't
do
even
you
close.
think in their prime, FloJo could have beat Usain Bolt?
No,
If you look at the history of times, there's some women that are very, very close to men's times, but the men the men win. Yes, but there's some very, very fast women out there that have run times that are amazing.
Okay,
But
well, what's the world
Usain
record?
Bolt,
What's the world record's men's 200-meter time?
I have no idea. I have to look it up.
19.3 seconds. What's the world record women's time?
It's probably in the 20s.
It's over 21 seconds. Okay.
Okay.
2 seconds in a 200-meter race is like 10, 15 yards. Okay.
Okay.
That's a huge distance. It's not even close. And that's kind of my point. Now, granted, could I go out there, even in my prime, and run a 21-second 200-meter dash? No, I couldn't do it. And I think that's the point you're trying to make, is like when I was a competitor myself, I might have been good in my state or in my high school or whatever, but your top female performers are still running incredibly fast times. Absolutely. But when it comes to being the best in the sport, the best females in the sport are always going to be behind the best males in the sport, depending on the sport, of course.
Right, but I know I can watch people that run races, and I can watch a 16-year-old or 17-year-old high schooler run a 16-minute 5K, and she could be a female, and I can watch a male run a 14-minute 5K. I mean, sure. I mean, they're similar. But I mean, do I think that the males are going to win out all the time? I mean, it comes down to, like you said before, it comes down to science. It's just longer strides, bigger builds, a lot of different things. But it goes back to my point that I was making last week, is that it doesn't matter what it is. It's running is running. It's still the same sport.
Sure.
So
are you saying that now you're saying gender doesn't matter in sport? Like they should compete against each other, or what are you saying?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying there's always going to be the two divisions. But if you're saying in terms of a sport, running is running. It's just
the same sport with two divisions.
It's going. So then it comes back again. It comes back to the original question on is it a sport or is it a game? So if you're going to put anybody on an equal playing field, you have to take the physicality out of it. Otherwise, it's considered a game. So the only way that you could ever consider a male and a female equal or give them anything is you have to consider it a game and not a sport, because then it's just up to your mind. Then you're going to have the argument of who's smarter, or, whatever.
Well,
and then you're going to go into
I can definitely tell you they're smarter than me.
It's going to have a whole different ball game then. But it's just... It's an interesting argument that you could have and spin in multiple different ways. But the only question that I can ask you is on the, and then we can move on to different things, I guess, or if you want to or not. But if she's on that tour, the only question that I need to know is the regulation on the amount of clubs that she can have in the bag.
I think it's 14, right?
Yeah, well, she has an extra one.
I knew you were going there.
So this week we saw the NFL talk about, we had 4 pretty good games in the NFL.
All right. And a word from our sponsor.
Yeah, you had to bring up such a controversial topic. We're going to get eaten alive for saying
it's all right. It's all right. Yeah. NFL, good games.
I will say this to end it off. If there's anybody out there that is tuning in that doesn't think that you're going to get an unfiltered opinion on such a controversial topic, number one, what I would do is I would challenge you to read the title of the fucking podcast. and number two, if you want somebody to respect your opinion, respect ours, or you're going to get, especially if you DM me, you're not going to get a DM back that you like.
I mean, but that said, why would it be so controversial to say something like, I mean, what we're saying? I don't understand why it's so controversial. So.
It's not, but somebody out there in La La Land will try to we hurt their feelings, because we give a fuck.
Right.
And
not to belabor the point, but you brought up Megan Rapinoe, right? Somebody did.
Yeah, say Joe, yeah.
But not to belabor the point, that U.S. women's national team that she played on that was so good that won the World Cup, they played against like a men's 16 and under team and lost by like 12 goals. I mean, it wasn't even close. That's a high school team they lost to.
Yeah.
Top women's soccer team in the world. Losing to a men's high school team.
That's because they suck.
Stronger. Well, no, they're just faster and stronger.
Well, and the women's team sucks. I mean, they can't do anything. They're horrible. Don't even get me started on them.
But they won the World Cup. I mean, that's what I'm saying is they're the best team in the world in their division, in their sport.
Yeah, then they got full of a lot of egos and they wanted a lot of more money, and then they did nothing, and then they went out there and then they sucked and they shit the bed, and then they're now look at them now.
All right, Texans versus Ravens. Say Joe, go.
Texas versus Ravens. Oh, yeah. It was a good game. It wasn't a good game. It was horrible. Texans got blown out, and I could have told you that was coming. Did anybody really think the Texans were going to win?
They looked good in the first half.
Yeah, it was tied 10-10, but that second half was bad.
Yeah. I think the Ravens really showed their true colors on what they're going to look like on the way to the Super Bowl. I think that Ravens are a tough team, and it looks like old not Jimmy Harbaugh. What's John Harbaugh is on a pretty good path to the Super Bowl. The other game, we'll get back to that one. Hang on. So let's go across the pond. The division, the Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. Mm-hmm. Now, that was a good game. And I do have to say, I do feel a little bit bad for the Packers. They played a good game. They led the majority of the time. Everybody in Green Bay, I talk up there, they're mad at the kicker. They say he needs to go. He does this. But you know what? It's not the kicker's fault. The Packers had plenty of opportunities to win the game and capitalize on some turnovers that should have happened, a couple of interceptions that they didn't have. They did get screwed on that fourth down play though. That was a bad spot. They should have kicked the field goal then instead of going for it. But it was a good game. Packers should be happy with where they are. They made it a lot farther than I think a lot of people thought they were going to go. And you know what? Jordan Love, I think, is going to be a good quarterback for some years to come. So
here's my thing on that game. If I was any member of the Packers organization or a Packers fan, I'd be pissed as fuck. The Packers should have won that game.
I agree. They should have won that game.
And I disagree. The kicker, he should have made the fucking kick. The fourth down, agree with you, totally there. But the theme of that game for the Packers was absolute missed opportunities, and you can't do that in the NFL playoffs.
100%. They did miss a lot of opportunities.
They absolutely should have won that game. They were the better team on the field that day. And that just goes to show that there is absolutely no fucking way that Brock Purdy should be in any MVP fucking conversation.
Oh, we're going to get to some conversations. We're going to have some conversations.
Well, not even the best player on his fucking team.
I'm glad you brought that up, Kev. No, okay. I'll let you have the argument. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Even though he's
Well, we're
finish
gonna
third in
we're
the
gonna get
MVP
into
argument.
it.
But
We're gonna get into that.
I will say that I watched the game, and I think Green Bay was kind of that loss was kind of just the result of, hey, we need some more experience. It felt like, yeah.
I think you're right. I think that they're the youngest team in the NFL. I mean, and I think they showed it, and I think that some inexperience there. So I think they'll be okay. They'll be okay. Like I said, I think they went a lot further than a lot of people expected them to go, and I give them props, but San Francisco got lucky. San Francisco didn't win that game. They got lucky.
Oh, it looked like they won the game to me, but
Yeah, I think he's saying that they didn't so much win it as the Packers lost it.
That's correct. However you want to phrase that. So same thing.
Game? That wasn't the game where. Okay, no, I'm thinking of the Buffalo game.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Buffalo game, which is exactly the same thing. So we're gonna Buffalo. That's a game of lost opportunities too. I mean, let's just say that Josh Allen is a very good quarterback, but you cannot rely solely on Josh Allen.
Well, in his defense,
he threw some pretty good passes that were dropped.
There were two fucking passes that should have been caught for big fucking gains.
Right.
That one to Diggs and the other one to, I forget his fucking name, but they dropped the goddamn ball, and that would have set him up, and then you're going to look like a ping pong match like they gave 2 years ago.
Right. Tyler Bass missing the kick. There's a really funny TikTok. I don't know if you saw it, but the guy sets up his fan on the side of the TV, and he's like, "Let's get it, let's blow it over," and then they kicks it, and he's like, "I can't believe it worked." It's very funny. It's very funny. Yeah. Of course, wide right. You never want to hear that. What was the name of the kicker that missed that famous kick? Do you remember?
Scott Norwood.
That's correct. Yep. You never
don't fucking bring it here, dude.
I love it. Tony Romo. I mean, I know you might not like Tony Romo, but I think that was probably.
He's a pretty good color commentator. I thought
it was hilarious when he said wide right. That's something Buffalo Bills fans never want to hear. Oh God, it was just.
Wasn't there another kicker named like Steve Christie or something like that too?
It was not good, but yeah, I think that was a great game. But again, I think it wasn't all. What drives me nuts is I know, Kev, you turned it, but they interviewed Patrick Mahomes at the end of the game, and he's like, "Yeah, we played really well. We did everything that we needed. We executed. We did all this, and it was a really good team effort, and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "No, it wasn't. The guy missed the field goal. You got lucky. Was just one time. One time, I would like to see an NFL player come up and say, 'Yeah, you know what? The dude missed, and we won.' Man, we really got lucky." But nobody says that. It's all everything we did right, everything we did. The team was this. I would just one time want somebody to be 100% honest and say, "Holy shit, I can't believe the guy missed the field goal and we won."
Yeah, I would like to bring something that I totally agree with your point, but I will bring something up. The one thing I was shocked that nobody said anything about was the Kansas City defense. I mean, they performed. I mean, Buffalo had the ball at home probably 5 times in that fourth quarter and didn't allow a point. So, I mean, there were a couple drop passes that should have been gains, but they weren't caught.
Yeah.
So they got the job done away from home in the fourth quarter.
They did.
No one said anything about that, and I thought that they played pretty dang well.
They did.
It's not, you don't usually talk about the Kansas City defense, but their defense really stepped up and played the game at the end of the game.
Right. You're right. Kansas City did a great job, and I just think that Buffalo, you could almost feel the energy from everybody that everybody wanted Buffalo to win that game.
I wanted Buffalo to win.
So it just.
Dude, Andy Reid wanted Buffalo to win.
Yeah. I think that, I think everybody just is tired of Kansas City. And I think Buffalo was on such a run, and unfortunately they just couldn't pull it through.
The best part of the game was watching Jason Kelsey up in the box climb into the crowd.
That's good.
You know, to do stuff with that. Thank God they didn't show Taylor as much as they showed him.
Oh, we're gonna.
I guarantee you, if Kansas City somehow beats Baltimore, and they get to the Super Bowl, a prop bet will be how many times will they show Taylor Swift on TV? And I guarantee you, if somehow Detroit can beat San Fran and you get KC in Detroit and you get fucking Taylor Swift and Eminem,
okay, we're gonna come back to that. Okay, so speaking of Detroit, so Detroit was another team. I think this is the story right here of the year, right? I mean, Dan Campbell. I mean, that's a coach that everybody wants to have. I think. I mean, that guy is he's great.
Yeah.
That guy when he came in, we're gonna bite the kneecap off, and then we're gonna take it down, and then we're gonna bite the other kneecap off, and then we're gonna take a hunk out of you, and then I mean, that's just hilarious. That guy, he's a coach. He is a player's coach, and the fact that they haven't won since 1991 was their first playoff since they've been in there.
Well, they haven't had a victory since 91. They've been in the playoffs since then, but just hadn't won a game.
Yeah,
very
I believe the last time that they were in a playoff was like 98, 99, somewhere in there.
Okay. And now they're in the divisional round.
Now, put this into perspective really quick of how long it has been since they won a playoff game, 1991 was before the Jacksonville Jaguars and Carolina Panthers were in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a long
That's
time.
how long ago it was.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that I think they have a really good chance of beating San Francisco. I think, like you said, Kev, we were talking a little bit that Debo might be out.
Yeah,
so that's good. That changes a little bit of the game plan for San Francisco. So I think that that's a team that's getting hot at the right time. And man, I hope so. Even if they make it to the Super Bowl, they get that monkey off their back to say that they've never been to a Super Bowl. Now that monkey's off the back. But if they win it, oh man, I mean, I think that would be incredible. You're going to talk about the controversy. I know that you are, and say the purple and the blue or whatever, the red and the red. Well, you know what? Let's think about it.
Who doesn't like
if you mix the colors of red and blue together, you get purple.
Yeah. Hey, how about
that?
So
purple's on the bottom. You could have purple and purple. Then who wins? Purple. Then it's a toss up. So, yeah, I think it'd be fun. So
I will say that if Baltimore wins and San Francisco wins, then I'm going to start shouting conspiracy.
I'm right there with you, and I'm not going to be fucking quiet about it. I mean, it's right up there.
These games are too close.
Yeah. With the birds aren't real people. Right. I mean, it's right up there with the fucking 5G towers.
It's funny. I was thinking about this while I was watching the games. It's like these games are too close.
Yeah.
And they're getting decided by. I mean, there were a couple pass interference calls that kept some drives alive.
Yeah. So you don't really change the channel,
right?
Yeah. So they could show you more ads.
Yeah.
Especially CBS that has 95 fucking ads every commercial break.
Yeah.
I mean, CBS is horrible. And the fucking Super Bowl's on CBS. Yeah.
And if you talk about one other conspiracy, remember the guy that picked 10 Super Bowls in a row? Well, he's done. He picked the Bills.
Yeah.
So that guy's done.
So, but Kansas City, there was a point where they called a pass interference when they had that crossing pattern, and the guy didn't pick him, but took him out of the play. And you can do that as long as the ball's not in the air, right?
And they timed it, and they timed it. He still had it in his hand. Yep. That's fucking bullshit.
Yep.
That's that fucking liberal. That's that liberal propaganda bullshit.
And they go down the field and score.
I don't think he scored on that play.
Not that play, but the drive that was 3rd and 11. Okay, that was
they got an automatic first down.
And they got an automatic first down,
and then
3rd and 11, and they scored.
I
won the
think
game.
you're right. I think Pachenko or whatever his name is.
It wasn't like the actual end of the game, but it was like late in the game.
Yeah, it was late in the game.
It's like early fourth quarter, and they went down and scored an important touchdown to put them in the lead, and then Buffalo never scored. They missed a field goal to tie it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So that's an important play that determined the outcome of a game.
Yeah,
because they would have had to punt to Buffalo, never would have scored.
But they did get a very key play that didn't go their way. It was the fumble into the end zone, and that was close. That was close, but
that ball was out.
It was out.
It was out. It went the right way. It went to Buffalo, which it was definitely there. But anyway,
yeah,
if they hadn't called that out, I would have been like, oh,
yeah. But,
all right,
but yeah,
San Fran, Detroit. Who you guys like?
I'm going Detroit.
I'm going Detroit as well.
For the sake of the conspiracy, I'm going to go San Francisco. Okay. For the sake of the conspiracy.
All right, Baltimore versus Kansas City.
I'm Baltimore.
Me too. I'll take Baltimore.
I'm taking Baltimore as well. I've seen Lamar Jackson play. It's not fair. It's not fair. I mean, he extends plays and just people are magically fucking open, you know?
Yeah.
And then if you're not open, he'll just run and say, fuck you, and get the first down. And then he'll just hand the ball off. And I mean, it's just, it's not fair. No, at this point, I know I was on the Bills bandwagon because they're the hot team, but anybody, I think Baltimore wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And to your point about if Kansas City makes it, how many shots of Taylor Swift will you see? You will see 0 because she will not be able to make it back in time.
Well, they timed that. She's going to be in Japan.
She's in Singapore.
And that they timed it, that she could make it right after, if she left right after a private plane, she could make it in time for the game.
I think it would be like maybe right at kickoff or something like that. It's possible, but I don't know. It would be tough, but we'll see. I don't think she's going to have to worry about it.
All right,
but
St. Joe, go.
Okay, so you want my 15 seconds? I'll try to keep it to 15 seconds. So. Everybody has a problem with Taylor Swift, right? Coming to the games and doing everything and making a big spectacle. They were booing her on the way in, everything, making a big deal, right? Buffalo fans throwing snowballs, doing everything. And Taylor Swift's America's sweetheart. I mean, let's just face it, she is, right? So she's at the game, America's sweetheart in the box. Well, let me tell you what. On Sunday, there was another America's sweetheart at the game. And that was one, Travis Kelce's brother, Jason Kelce.
Jason Kelce.
Yeah.
He's out in the parking lot doing shots with everybody, slamming beers, shotgun and everything. And he gets up to the suite, and then lo and behold, he's drinking another beer. He's taking off his shirt. He's opening up the window. He's coming out in the crowd, and he's doing everything. And he's making a spectacle. And guess what? Nobody has a problem with it. Everybody embraces it and loves it. He's all over TikTok and everything.
Yeah, it's the patriarchy. Is that what you're getting at?
What's the difference? Man versus woman.
Man, I don't know. I think I liked the Jason Kelce part because I'm used to Taylor Swift being at the game now.
Yeah.
I don't really care that she's at the game anymore. Like, I'm tired of it. Like, it was a thing at the beginning of the year. Now we're all kind of tired of it. But you don't always get to see a Jason Kelce with no shirt on in Buffalo.
You don't, and I do think it was great.
I bet you a lot of people would like Taylor Swift more if she took off her shirt.
You may be correct, but I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. I think that, I think that Kelce was maybe letting go a little bit of steam because he doesn't know if he's coming back or not. But I think he did.
He retired.
Did he announce and say he was retiring? Okay.
Yeah, he's retired.
So I think he was just having fun. And I got to tell you, seeing that just like kind of to me says a lot about who that family is and kind of what they're all about. And I thought it was great. And if Taylor Swift is there and she's having just as much fun with that family and doing whatever, more power to them. So, hey, whatever, man. I thought it was great. I thought it was hilarious. That guy, they're everywhere. They're on like 18 commercials that, CBS plays 95 commercials. They were probably on 60 of them. I mean, they're everywhere. So
they have a very popular podcast as well.
Yes. So more power
fun too. I don't know if you listen to it, but it's fun.
Yeah. So that was just my little Mama D gossip or whatever for you. But
it was good.
I do have more information to go through since the NFL Honors is coming up next, right before the Super Bowl. It's getting close. It's getting
typically the Thursday before the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So we're getting closer and closer, but I think that we should discuss some of the topics that are going to be there. So let's just run through a couple of things.
This should be good.
MVP. Let's get the big one out of the way because who do you think is MVP right now? So list that they have 3 people. They have Lamar, Dak, and Brock Purdy. Out of those 3, who do you think gets the MVP?
I've watched all 3 of them, and I think it's pretty clear that Lamar Jackson is the leader on the field.
Yeah, 100%. I think hands down Lamar.
I'm not so much voting for Lamar as I'm voting against Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So your census is everybody. I think everybody thinks Lamar is running away with it this year. Offensive player of the year.
All right. That should be clear. And he's not going to win it, but it should be fucking clear. It should be Tyreek Hill.
Okay. So
it should be fucking clear.
CeeDee Lamb.
But that's who's going to win.
Armoron, St. Brown, Christian McCaffrey, or Tyreek Hill.
No, it'll either be Lamb or Christian McCaffrey, but it should be Tyreek Hill.
Who led the league? That's my question.
Well, McCaffrey
in yards, receiving yards, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
by like a lot.
Oh, I thought CeeDee Lamb was there somewhere.
Well, CeeDee Lamb broke records for Dallas and did a couple things like that. But
I mean, Tyreek Hill is challenging like the NFL record.
Yeah, so I'm with Kev.
Forever record. Yeah,
but it's not going to be him because for some reason the NFL does not like Tyreek Hill.
Oh, I think it's Tyreek Hill too.
Huh?
I can tell you a couple reasons why, but
But I think it's Tyreek Hill too because if you take Tyreek Hill away from the Dolphins, the Dolphins aren't the Dolphins
because all they have is Waddle as a threat, right. and Waddle's not near as good. I mean, he's a good slant receiver, but he's not near as good. You saw when Tyreek Hill was hurt and they tried to use Waddle in his place. I mean, he only had one big catch.
Right.
Granted, it was for 75 yards, but still, that's not the point.
Right. But if you take McCaffrey away, look, they had 4 people that with like 1,000 yards. Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey, and Kittle. I mean, if you take McCaffrey out of that, you still got 3 other players that are great.
And with Miami, don't forget that Mozart guy had like damn near 30 rushing touchdowns.
Yep. So I'm with you. I think Tyreek Hill is Offensive Player of the Year. How about Defensive Player of the Year? We got Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, or TJ Watt.
It probably should be Myles Garrett. That defense in Cleveland, I mean, outside of the Texan playoff game, but that defense in Cleveland was pretty stout all year and kept them in games and allowed them to have a really good record in a really tough division. This is a division that has Baltimore and Pittsburgh in it. And I know Cincinnati was down once Burrow went down, but Burrow doesn't get hurt, and they're probably in the mix. They were in the mix anyway with Jake Browning. So, I think you got to give it to Garrett.
Beebs?
It's funny is I don't really pay as much attention to defense as I do offense, but I think it's Myles Garrett.
See, I think it's TJ Watt.
I mean, I don't think you have a loser there, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think you do either. But
I think what's going to win, they're both deserving. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Yeah, they're both deserving. But I think what's going to win it for Garrett more than Watt is how detrimental it was if you pull him off. You know what I'm saying? Like
I
TJ
get
Watt, TJ Watt didn't play in the playoff game, but they were still in it.
Yeah, no,
You
I
know
get it
what I'm saying?
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
I think like Beav says, Max Crosby, amazing. He's probably not
Yeah.
going to be with the Raiders next year.
Dude, that dude needs to be wearing teal. That dude. If
that
they're
need-
going to
that-
get rid of them, they need to make a play to get him here.
He's going to Chicago. That guy's going to go to Chicago.
Why would you want to waste your career in Chicago? You know, I mean, we're like
boy.
2 players away from winning fucking a dynasty.
Okay,
here.
Yeah,
give us-
I mean,
give
hey,
us-
if
give
the
us the next
Jags could,
award.
if the
us the
Jags
next
could get him
award.
and do something with him, that would be amazing. But I'm with you. But yeah, I don't think you have a loser. Crosby, Garrett, and TJ Watt. I think any one of those is well deserving. But 3 great players. So this is an interesting one. Comeback player of the year.
I hands down, I believe it's Joe Flacco.
Okay. Beebs.
Yeah, I know people are going to be on the Matt Stafford bandwagon,
Okay.
you know, but I think it's Flacco.
Okay.
I agree with Kev. I mean,
Okay.
he led that Browns team who wasn't going to make it to the playoffs until he started playing. He led them
Okay.
down the stretch to what, 5 or 6 victories?
All right.
He
right?
didn't lose any games,
Right.
you know.
Here's my opinion. Couple people, which I think is wrong, are going to be on the sympathy, and they're going to give it to DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah, but what did he do?
He made some games. He came
played.
back.
He played.
He
yeah.
played. So I think that he may get it as the sympathy vote, which I think, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying sympathy in a bad way, but he did have something traumatic happen to him. He did come back. He played. He couldn't get the fake punt, which was a terrible call by Buffalo. I don't know if that's a good vote. Stafford, I could certainly see. I don't think that's a good one either. Flacco was on his couch and came back, and Cleveland made it to the playoffs. I don't know if that one, I could see it too, but that's almost an easy call, right? For me, what about Baker?
Well, what was he coming back from?
Yeah, I mean, he had a pretty good stint in L.A.
He did okay, but I mean, he did lead Tampa into. I mean, I don't know. This is kind of a.
Is that like, don't you have to be injured and then come back to be on this list?
Not necessarily. I mean, Stafford wasn't injured.
Or
Flacco's
fucking
not
old.
injured.
He was injured at the end of the season, which is.
I mean, so I don't know. Maybe Baker Mayfield, because he was kind of down and out, and nobody, I don't know. Maybe this will be an interesting one.
I don't disagree with your point. He basically proved a lot of people that he's a usable quarterback in the NFL.
Right. And
You
he's
know what?
probably going to get a big contract because of it.
I'll tell you where he's going to get that big contract, because the GM, that was the GM of the Browns when they drafted him, the big fan of Baker Mayfield, is now the GM of the Minnesota Vikings.
It'd be interesting if he goes to Vikings and takes.
I would
over
stay.
Kirk Cousins.
Wouldn't you stay at Tampa Bay if you were him though? Because he has receivers in Tampa that are good.
What if they flipped? Baker goes to Minnesota and Kirk Cousins comes to Tampa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I could.
But
see,
I'm talking about. Oh, you mean like if they traded him?
maybe, but
Well, they can't. He's a free agent, right?
yeah, he's a free
They
agent.
could franchise
Did
tag
he
him.
sign? Did he sign a 1-year?
No, he signed a 1-year contract.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they could Tampa Bay could franchise tag him, and then
If I were Tampa Bay, I would keep him. He knows the plays. He's got the same coach. Why would you want to go get a new quarterback for? That's exactly the same player.
That's a big franchise tag, though. Whew.
Well, I would
But-
say negotiate with him and try and sign him.
Yeah.
Well, the franchise tag you can't negotiate with. It's like a set amount.
No, what I'm saying is don't franchise him, negotiate with him, and try and sign him.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't. I mean, once the Super Bowl hits, we're a month away from free agency.
But he signed
Yeah, so-
minimum. He signed a 1-year, like $6 million, $8 million contract, something like
So
that.
He's
So
going
it
to get
wasn't a
paid
lot.
way more than that.
Oh,
Someone's
he's
going to
gonna
pay
be-
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
So-
Tampa Bay should try to keep him. I would think, but hey, I mean, maybe they don't have the money that other teams have.
it'll be interesting to
Yeah,
see.
Tampa
but,
Bay ain't hurting for money.
Nah, Tampa Bay will be fine, and they want him back. I think they want him back. So
Yeah.
interesting to see. But
Next.
defensive rookie of the year.
I don't even. Is there a list?
Yeah.
Kobe Turner, Brian Branch, Devon Witherspoon, or Jalen Carter?
I don't know any of them, so I'm not even going to answer.
I mean,
I don't even
you'd
know
have to know who they are and where they are. But for me, I mean, I knew just because my son's an Eagles fans, Jalen Carter, I think, is going to win this one.
Probably, yeah. Him or Branch, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I just knew that there was another kid that came up, but Jalen Carter had a pretty good end of the year with the Eagles.
I think at the beginning of the year it might have been Joey Porter Jr.
There was a couple that were there,
but yeah, I think it's going to be Carter from the Eagles.
Wait a second. Is it Rookie of the Year or is it Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
Now this one's easier. How about Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud,
Yeah. So I think hands down CJ Stroud. So
he's going to be scary.
It was either Sam Laporta, Puka Nakua, or CJ Stroud, which are all had great years.
Yeah. They're all good.
All right. Coach of the Year.
I think personally, and not to be on this bandwagon, but I think it's Kevin Stefanski from Cleveland.
Okay.
You know, I mean, they were on their 17th quarterback. You know, I mean, seriously, and they still made the playoffs.
That's fair.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So
a lot of people might say Mike Tomlin as well.
Mike Tomlin is in there.
Why would he be Coach of the Year?
Because he had Mason fucking
winning
seasons. Yeah, he's never had a fucking losing season. This time he had T.J. Watt go down and Kenny Pickett. Trubisky'd all over the field, so he had to start Mason fucking Rudolph.
Yeah. He didn't play bad when he came in.
And Mason Rudolph saved Christmas in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and almost made the playoffs.
No, they did make the playoffs. They played the Bills.
They lost in the first game.
Oh, that's right. They played the Bills. That's right.
Remember Jacksonville lost, so Pittsburgh got in?
That's right. DeMarcus Ryan, the Texans coach, Stefanski, Mike Tomlin, and I will tell you, the one that I think is on the list is Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I think they probably give it to Stefanski. I think Stefanski is deserving more than the other people, but I don't think he's necessarily going to win. I think they're going to give it to my man in Houston.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yep.
Was the name for the Detroit coach on that list?
That's what I said. Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. Yes.
Yeah, I think that if Campbell wins, I think he's definitely in the running.
That's by far the hardest. That's by far the hardest category.
Yeah,
I think so too.
By far the hardest category because all four of those guys are very deserving.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Best moment of the year.
Best moment of the year was watching, for me, was watching Patrick Mahomes lose his crap on the sidelines after that play got called.
So Kevin and I, we talked a little bit about this too, and I said that's probably the best moment of the year was probably denied by a penalty. Yeah. Best play of the year was probably called back because of a penalty. By far, that was probably one of the best plays I've ever seen in football.
For me, I'll tell you this, a cool moment in the NFL was watching Detroit win their first playoff game in so many years.
That
environment was outstanding.
Yep, that could definitely be for them winning their first one. Definitely could be one. So that's always a fun one to see and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. That's kind of a cool thing.
For best performance of the year, that 70-point game from Miami at the beginning.
Yeah,
that was special.
That could be too. So that one's always a hard one to be like, okay, they have an air to ground play, they have a whatever, or the FedEx delivers play or whatever. You're like, okay, whatever.
Hey, in that game, they beat the Denver Broncos, did they not?
They did. They did.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. They
beat the shit out of the Denver Broncos, right?
Beat the donkey piss out of whatever their guy's name is.
I don't know why you gotta talk shit about the donkey.
Well, he was probably smoking too much pot, and that's what happened. But
somebody asked me the other day how the Denver's going to name their football team after a truck.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. Last award. And to me, probably the most prestigious award in football. I mean, obviously the Lombardi, the MVP, everything like that is great. But for me, the most prestigious award that you could ever receive in football is the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. And I know it's hard to say who's going to win because there's 32 nominees. So it could be anybody. I think anybody is deserving of it. Everybody that's nominated gets $40,000 to give to their charity. I think the winner gets $200,000 or something like that. But to me, that just says that this is the person that goes above and beyond outside of football as a outstanding member in their community, gives back beyond the game of football. And any one of those are deserving to do it. And as I will always say, the one person that will never, ever win this reward is going to be Aaron Rodgers. So
forget Aaron Rodgers, is Kirk Cousins on that list?
Kirk Cousins has already won one.
Is he on the list though?
You can't win it again.
Oh, you can't win it again.
No, once you win it, you won it. So,
shoot, I thought he'd be on the list.
For this year, and this year alone, I think the only reason Patrick Mahomes is on this list, and I think that he probably wins it this year. But
for what?
I mean, he does give a lot back to his community, but there's a ton of people.
I would say on that list of things though would be setting a good example for kids playing football.
He did not do it this year.
Right. That's kind of my point is you see him cursing out the referees on national television.
Yeah.
That sets a bad tone for me. I know he's on the list and I'm sure he does good things. I'm sure he does. Like, I know that from what I've heard, he's a good dude. Like, you don't like him on the field, but off the field, it sounds like he's a pretty decent human being. Okay.
Yeah.
But that said, I mean, you're a football player and you are setting an example for players to follow you. And it's like saying Charles Barkley should win the Man of the Year, or the Player of the Year, or the Humanitarian of the Year award. Not that Charles Barkley isn't a humanitarian or anything like that, but he's really, I mean, like when he was a player, he was rude and obnoxious, and he would say, he would actually tell the people interviewing, I'm not here to be anybody's role model while he was playing. So that reminds me of Mahomes on the field a little bit. Not that he's going to go throw anybody through, a window at a bar.
Sure.
Like Charles.
Hey, did Ray Lewis ever win that award?
I think Ray Lewis did win.
Okay. What about O.J. Simpson?
Yeah, no, it wasn't around when OJ was there. But
Ray Rice.
Who else is on? Who else is on the list?
I don't think Ray Rice.
Tyreek Hill ain't winning that shit either.
Tyreek or AB, they didn't win it either. Things like that. But
but who else is on the list?
Oh, I mean, there's I didn't even recognize the name for the Jags guy.
Hey, you know what though? You said T.O. Let me tell you something about T.O. He might have been a jerk-off motherfucker, was never fucking arrested. He never broke the law. He never got caught with a hooker like Michael Irvin and with fucking 2 keys of coke, and all that shit. So you say what you want about T.O. He's not walking off the field like Antonio Brown. I mean, say what you want, but he never broke the rules.
Yeah. No, I know, but there's a ton of people on the list. I mean, I could name, but I mean,
I have no idea who's been nominated, so I can't really.
It's I think the most high profile name that was on there was Mahomes. Oh, Saquon Barkley was on there, so maybe he could win. But I don't know. Somebody's gonna win it, but you'll see.
Can you name the only Jaguar to ever win it?
Calais Campbell.
Correct.
And he did a really good job. He was with 5-star veterans, and he did a lot of different things with them and that organization. And then after he won, he went to Baltimore.
All right. Well, that was a good segment. Beebs, you got anything before I get into this?
Actually. I do. I've got 2 things real quick. I mean, okay, I guess they don't have to be quick. I know that we're already at an hour, but heck, I mean, if we're going to blow it, might as well, right? But did you all catch the Todd Bowles interview before the Tampa Bay? Kev, did you see that?
No, I didn't.
You didn't? Okay, well, I have a recording. I was gonna try and play it into my mic. It should work.
Okay, that's good because we're not going to do the broadcast this week.
Okay, well here it is.
Looking forward towards Detroit. The weather has been a factor in some of the playoff games, even for the most prepared teams. Today it's 13 in Detroit, which doesn't compare to some of the temperatures. Any special plans to acclimate the team to not only endure but perform in those kind of frigid temperatures should you face them in Detroit?
You do know we play indoors, right? They got a dome. I don't. No, nothing planned. We're indoors, and we only have to be outside for 20 seconds getting off the bus.
I just wanted to say Todd Bowles was very gracious about that.
Yeah,
hurts,
I would have been like, look, you dumb bitch. You know, Ford Field is a fucking dome.
He said it a lot nicer, but
yeah,
but that was one of my favorite moments. It was just funny, you know. I mean, like she made an honest mistake. Okay,
it's almost as good as the Mike Tomlin interview where he's like, okay, and then somebody asks about his contract and he just fucking leaves.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I'll take that. I mean, the other thing that I saw on Twitter, and I sent this to you guys earlier, but my favorite player all time was Jerry Rice. Okay. My favorite football player, the guy who made me watch the NFL when I was a kid, was Jerry Rice. Watched him all the time. And someone brought up Mike Evans, right? He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
First ballot.
First ballot. Okay, so here are your stats. Mike Evans entered the league at age 21. Became the only wide receiver in NFL history with 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons to start their career. And he now has 762 receptions, 11,680 yards, and 94 touchdowns at age 30. If Evan does it all over again from now until age 40 and doubles his stats over the next decade, he'd still mostly fall short of catching Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice has 1,524 receptions, or no, he would have 1,524 receptions if he doubled what he was doing. Hold on just a second. That would be 25 less receptions in his career than Jerry Rice. At the end of his career, he would have 23,360 yards, and that would barely be more than Jerry Rice. And he would have 188 touchdowns, which would be 9 less than Jerry Rice. Mike Evans most likely isn't going to play until he's 40, and Jerry Rice is impossible. A side note, for everyone saying, well, Jerry Rice had Montana and Young, Joe Montana and Steve Young combined over their entire careers. They combined for 2 4,000-yard seasons in their careers. Jameis Winston has had 3 4,000-yard seasons, including a 5,000-yard season for the Bucs. Tom Brady also had 3 4,000-yard seasons, including a 5,000-yard season for the Bucs. So that was just, you have players in the NFL who are really good, and Mike Evans is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's really good. But there are certain players who are just untouchable. And Jerry Rice was one of those players. And Kev, you're muted.
Sorry. In Montana and Young's defense, they throw the ball a shit ton more now.
Yes, they do.
Than they did then. Yeah,
well,
so that even makes Jerry Rice more. I mean, yeah.
And also, he was their target.
I would love to know what Jerry Rice's career completion catch percentage was.
Oh, I don't even know.
That's the number there, because I guarantee you the guys, Mike Evans has been thrown to more than Jerry Rice. Yeah, probably. So.
He probably has a faster runner than Jerry Rice too. Jerry Rice,
that catch he made in the fucking end zone the other day was impressive.
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
Yeah, but Jerry Rice was a special player. He was my favorite player. Not to take anything away from Mike Evans, of course. He's an incredible player too. But it was just an interesting statistic. Like he would have to double what he's already done in order to catch Jerry Rice.
I don't know if I have a favorite NFL player ever.
No,
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. It's probably a number of people. I would. I mean, off the top of my head, if somebody asked me, I'd probably say Fred Taylor. You know, because I watched him in Gainesville, and then I watched him in the NFL here in Jacksonville. But anyhow, what else you got, Beaves? Anything else?
No, that was all I had. I just want to bring up those couple points. Now, there are some texts there about the Jaguars that we never brought up, by the way, because there's a lot going on with the Jags right now, isn't there?
Not much. They hired a DC.
Yeah. There's a lot more to come, though, I think. So we need to save that.
Yeah, I'm still pissed off at those guys. Anyhow, real quick, since we're at an hour and 15 minutes, I do have a stupid sport of the week, real quick. And I feel that with this, I need to add a tad bit of a disclaimer. That if anybody has a problem with what I'm about to say, keep in mind I am a very blue comedian, okay? And if you don't know what blue means when it comes to comedians, Google is at everybody's fucking disposal. Okay?
See, Joe, I'm a little terrified right now.
Okay, so that's
I have no idea.
That's my disclaimer. That's my disclaimer. Now, I would ask you guys, don't mute your microphones, but let me get through this. Okay?
Oh, you don't want us to mute?
Do not mute your microphone. Do not mute your microphone because I want your reaction.
Like, wait a second.
I want your reaction to this. Now, keep in mind, everybody out there, it's a fucking joke. Okay? I've cleared this. I've cleared this with people.
You've cleared it.
I've cleared it with people to make sure that I'm not being insensitive.
Okay. You're an insensitive person.
Right. So, that all being said, I was made aware by someone affiliated with this program, not naming names because you guys know I don't do that the stupid sport of the week should be a sport called blind log jumping.
Jeez.
That's right. Blind log jumping, otherwise known as the high dive. And just like it sounds, it's blind people jumping into the unknown. So let's call it what it really is. Marriage. Just kidding. Love being married. Just kidding. Just kidding. Mm-hmm. Now, at first, I didn't think it was real. You know, I kind of gave this guy some shit. But unlike the jumpers, I had to see it to believe it. So I looked it up on YouTube. Apparently, there are no rules that say you don't have to see to compete in the long jump. And if you miss this event, say, Joe, if you miss this event on your local sports channel, don't worry, you're not alone. No one saw it. And the blind long jump. Now,
Stevie Wonder.
Now, I don't know all the details, but I'm pretty sure that you have to jump over Stevie Wonder to do it. There are a couple of differences between the blind long jump and the long jump. See, the way it works is they just tell a blind person to jump and give him no other information. You know, just fucking jump. You know, and another difference is between the blind long jump and the regular long jump is that the blind long jump, they don't ask you to leave your guard dog behind. And this event is not popular because it's hard to market what it really should be called, the leap of faith. Oh, God. And it's not as exciting as a regular long jump, but you're guaranteed to see a few face plants. Now, after the event, the winner was interviewed, and when asked how he won, he said, "Man, I didn't see that coming." and I think it's only going to get better. The only thing that would beat this is if they started blind pole vaulting.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the stupid sport of the week, brought to you by the Two Penny Podcast. There you go. Yes, nothing is off limits, but I did get it cleared.
I'm glad you got it cleared.
I have a question.
Okay.
Does the dog jump too? and who goes farther?
For clarification, I'll admit that I put this in as a request for being the stupid sport of the week. It had a video attached to it.
It did,
and it was. I mean, I laughed at first and felt bad afterwards, but it was a video of a blind long jumper missing. Like he jumped really far, but he missed the pit. Like he landed on the track on the wrong side of the pit. Because
what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
And Kev's like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, it's not. I'm like, but I mean, I feel bad, but I'm laughing, so it seems kind of funny. He's like, it's not funny. And like he just gave me the cold shoulder. So Kev,
yeah, it was a challenge to find something that I didn't really find funny to make it funny, and then when I started thinking about it, I'm like, I really could piss a lot of people off by saying this, and so let's fucking do it.
Jesus.
You know
Next week we're talking about asthmatic scuba diving or deaf. What can we do for the deaf here, Beebs?
We said this a lot when we did the regular Unfiltered podcast, but we've talked about some shit tonight.
Yeah, we have. We've been all over the board here doing
if
stuff
this motherfucker doesn't get us canceled,
we're gonna get canceled. I can feel it.
Yeah, Jesus. I think I'm gonna call this Special Olympics and see if they can be a sponsor. Jesus.
Next week on Stupid Sport of the Week, we're going to talk about a really competitive sport called midget tossing.
Yeah, Jesus. Let's see. Who do we leave out? Let's see. Do we know any amputees or people in wheelchairs? Let's see. Or if you have any type of cancer.
Well, the disclaimer is Kev's like, no, that's not a stupid sport. We had both agreed that he wasn't going to do it, but he went ahead and did it anyway.
Yeah, I cleared it with somebody that has eyesight problems.
Authority.
Who started making
authority on the product.
Okay, so when the person that has eyesight problems starts with the jokes, you're like, okay,
it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right.
Okay, because and she's like, oh, you should say this. Oh, that's good. And you should say this. That's a badunch. And
that's that's funny. That's oh boy, wow.
But I challenge you to put a blindfold on and fucking long jump, man. How do you know where the motherfucking line is to jump? You could fall.
Well, that was my point in sending you the video. I used to do the long jump when I was in track and field, and I cannot imagine trying to do that blindfolded.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if the blind guys they did the shot put? I mean, duck. I mean.
Jesus. Wrong way, Timmy. The javelin. Oh, God. Yeah, no, that'd be
the good part about this whole thing is we started this thing at like an hour, 15 minutes, and no one's gonna be listening.
Nobody's hopped on the view,
so turned off. Yeah, well, nobody's been on the YouTubes, so it's. I'm gonna guess that the one guy who usually shows up, he's probably gonna listen to this podcast while he's on the plane to come see me.
Yeah,
this week. So
he'll be like, "What the fuck were you guys doing? What the fuck were you guys doing?
What were you thinking?" That's what he's gonna say.
Yeah, interesting. Well, that's good. Yeah, we've. I can't wait to see the comments on this one. Hopefully, they're as good as the one you read.
Yeah.
I hope it's the same reviewer.
The review.
It reminds me of Roger Wright.
Let's give that guy a shout out here real quick. That guy's name is Lenny GR. Lenny Gurr. Okay. Lenny, you write reviews like nobody's business. I mean, you do. You write reviews, so Lenny's the fucking man.
Lenny reminds me of a blind long jumper.
He reminds me of somebody that said, "Hey, I'm gonna do this review," and in the middle of the review, he had a fucking stroke.
Oh, Jesus. Jeez.
Maybe.
I'm just saying, it might be he might be epileptic.
It would
he
be
might have
a
had a seizure.
factor.
He might have had a seizure. He might be one of these podcast promoters.
I'm just gonna say this. I hope Lenny is not like, what's the word?
Stephen Hawking.
Something like that. You know what I mean? Like, he really liked my podcast and like genuinely, was appreciative of it, but like he had, he has.
See, this is what we do. If you leave us a good review, then we shit all over it.
Maybe
Okay.
he should have found his way to a keyboard that worked.
And
I guess my guess is it was talk to text, right?
I don't know. And it's these motherfuckers out there who give you a 1-star review. Don't let you know why they give you a 1-star review. You're just a fucking jealous other fucking podcaster. Have some fucking balls and tell us why you left us a 1-star fucking review. You cocksucker.
All right.
Oh, God.
All right.
Here we
All right.
go.
I think that's a good place to end, Kev. Why don't we wrap this up?
Really? You want to end on cocksucker? Wow, that's okay. Well, that's great. That's
Well,
great.
we do really appreciate our listeners, and we would appreciate if you went to unfpod.com and saw all of our other friends that are members of Unfiltered Studios. Unfiltered Studios, where we help you press record.
Oh, God.
Join the podcasting revolution, folks.
Yeah, we have to get the fuck out of here first.
Jesus.
So,
Somebody please send us a new promo.
this is our promo, motherfucker.
Jesus. Jeez. Somebody help us.
Oh. It's motherfucking 10:39.
I need to go.
Okay, so for St. Joe for the beams, my name is Kev. We'll catch you guys next week.
Catch you on the flippity flop.